All right, yo, welcome back to Turn My City Up podcast. I got a special
Here.
guest. Finally, I had a guest on here forever. My dog. It became my brother from the runs. When I first started these runs, man, he one of the first people to come out there to do basketball runs in Phoenix. My
I was
boy
at
E.
inaugural run, I think. First
I think
run.
you were the first one.
Sure.
It's funny how that started too, because I was talking with Sav and Vincent, and we all was cool. I used to be like, I want to like make content, but mostly I just want to hoop because I was coming back off my knee injury. I
That's
was like, I
right.
want to hoop, but I was like, I want to like be able to record and stuff too and get pics and all that. And it was just one day, like we would always talk about. We talked about it for months, and then one day I was literally sitting on my couch and I was like, let me find a gym, and I just rented it out, like
That'll
without even seeing if people was gonna come. I just rented it out,
yeah.
and people ended up coming.
Twitter's a wonderful place, bro. A lot
I
of good
swear,
connections there, bro.
like y'all don't understand how many like friends and like friend groups that started through like them runs. That's why it's funny to me.
Yep. Yes,
It's
sir. Now we
hilarious.
now we first time on the pod. First time on the pod.
Yes, sir. Got my boy out here. Real ball knower, man. We only invite people on here that want to talk basketball. For
Exactly.
real. Like actually talk basketball. None of that other weird stuff that be going
Show
on.
their face.
Yeah,
Come
we
on.
cool with all that extra, the hot takes and all that stuff. Like hot takes is cool, but not, y'all know what I be saying. But
They gotta be reasonable.
yeah, nothing insane
That's
that
it.
you trying to do for clicks. No, but obviously my boy E's a Suns fan, just like most of us and most of you guys that watch this. So we gotta tap into what has been a frustrating season easily. To we could say that. Even though y'all see me try to be positive all the time on the TL, but obviously, I have to acknowledge the season been frustrating to me. To me, it's obviously been mostly about the injury stuff to me, because that's been, they still haven't played. They played what, maybe 20 games together now. I don't even know if
Yeah.
they're total have
I
played 20
think
games together yet.
they're mid. They just crossed mid 20s, but I
Yeah,
was talking to somebody else too who made a good point. Like, even if they got 25 games together or whatever, it's always been like, oh, they got the big three, but it's Nurk and EG out, or it's
yeah.
EG and Little and Bowl out, or something. You know
Oh
what I mean?
God,
Like,
that's so
it's never
crazy.
really been like, okay, we got our 8 and we going
Yeah,
out and we rocking for a 10, 15 game stretch. So that was
yeah,
a good point that calmed me down after the last two fucking nightmare games. Was like, if I were to
yeah,
think about it from the point of, we're game 25, 30 into the season with this group, like,
yeah,
they probably would be going through some growing pains right now if we were in month 1, 2 of the season. But we're just not
yeah,
there anymore. We ran out of time because of the injuries. But I'm trying
yeah.
to just keep my cool with the ceiling of this group in general. So that's kind of what I've been going back to.
Yeah, it's like obviously we can't give all the excuses to injury, but I just feel like that's the main thing. I feel like a lot of this stuff would have been cleaned up by now if they was playing, but
Yeah.
they wasn't, and it's just like that part of the season where we won, where we was like what 14 and 15-6 or something like that. Would have had they went on that
14
run.
and 15, I think I just looked at it, like
Yeah,
by the Christmas game or something.
yeah,
14
and
to
they were
15.
balling, and I was like, okay, we cool. But then I felt like this something. I think what was it? Bill got hurt.
Then Bill got hurt, and then
Yeah,
just never picked
oh,
up any steam.
yeah. After
Never
that,
picked up
because
any steam.
I feel like if he didn't get hurt that time again, because I think that was when he got hurt by Dante, huh?
Yep, that was the
It would
one.
have been something like that. Or no, I think it might have been, yeah, it was one of those that he got hurt a few times. It was just like, wow, bro. Like it was just terrible.
Yeah, while he was wearing the mask too, it was like one thing after
Hmm.
another. Like,
Yeah,
it just never picked up any steam. Like, the only positive recently was like Book went down with the ankle in Houston, but
yeah,
like the Brad KD games, they were still competing. Like,
yeah.
we saw a good show versus Boston at home, which is why it hurt
Hmm.
even worse that they got ran the way they did the next time around. Like, I
Yeah,
get
it
it
was
at Boston, they've been crazy at home, but like Brad and Kay showed up to that game like
balling
they were
too.
supposed to. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
balling.
and Denver game on the road, like, probably the biggest win in just terms of like overall feel of the season. I can think of that one and the comeback in Sacramento, or against Sacramento maybe. But like,
Yeah,
it felt like things were trending in the right direction. And I don't know if it's Book came back too early from that ankle, or the pecking order is all fucked up once one of those guys comes back. I
right.
don't know what it is, but the last week or so has just been like, I feel like we should be beyond that now.
Yeah, it's like every time I start like, okay, we hear like
Yeah,
something goofy happens. Every time we start getting cocky, we're like, okay, we see it and we hear like something weird happen. I don't know if that stuff is the reason why, because what's really been irking my nerves lately is really like the effort on defense,
yeah,
and then it makes me mad because to me my favorite win of the year was the Denver one in
yeah.
Denver because that game wasn't even, like even just about like how KD and Bill took over that
Yeah.
OT. Like that whole game, they were guarding like they were
48
locked in like it
minutes.
was the playoffs. They were guarding that whole game, and that's like what the Saint like. Even me sometimes I'm like, okay, the personnel's not what you would want it to be like a lockdown team or nothing like that. When you see they can do it, and it's just an effort, and you see the game plan that Vogel put together versus the Nuggets and all that, it gets annoying because then now you can't really do the whole excuse like, oh, they don't got the personnel. Like
Exactly.
they just gotta want to do it consistently, and that's what makes me mad about it because I think that was one of the main reasons they got smoked by Boston the other day. Like they were like walking and just letting like the best 3-point shooting team
And
just shoot wide open threes, bro.
in it was so consistent in the Boston and the Milwaukee game. Like I've probably been one of the louder pro Nurk voices this
Yeah,
year. But man, he was fucking horrible in those
yeah,
two games. Like I feel like that lack of urgency from him
mm-hmm.
was super rare to see. Like he's
Yeah,
walking out to closeouts there. I mean, it was like a spam over and over of first the Boston game. It was Horford was
oh my
walking
god,
in the
wide
streets at
open
the pick spot,
warm up.
and then you got Portis and Brook. Like it's not even as bad as it could have been because they missed some gimmies. But like you
Yeah,
watch some of Nurk's contests, that you know what the result is that they're seeking. They're trying to get him in some motion. They're trying to get him to
yeah,
close out and have to defend a drive. It was just it's one thing to be like, all right, I get it. He's a 300-pound, slow-footed big. But it's
yeah,
another thing to be like, I'm gonna walk out and wave my hand at a shooter who's killing me.
yeah,
I mean, I'm not gonna throw the blame on Nurk for both those losses, but it's like you stack that to where you can't even play him no more. So now you really need to pick it up in this small ball five, everybody switching, scrambling, and you got Book turning his back on shooters. Pat Bev's got one in the corner that
yeah. Oh my
turning
god.
his back. Like, bro, you're down 13. This is like
Yeah, we got that out
uncharacteristic of a
there.
team that's got to get it going. So that was super
Yeah,
frustrating to see. But shit, now's the time to turn it around. If ever, this next four is like prime time. Turn it around and let's go.
yeah. Just like I'm gonna be highly upset they lose any of these next 4 games. Cause what is
Right.
it? Sixers. Pretty sure it's what
Sixers, Atlanta, Spurs twice.
Spurs twice.
Hold it
We
up.
should win. Like we need to win at home. And Wemby, none of them games gonna be easy, by the way, because Wemby been
At
balling.
all.
Wemby's been
At
balling.
all.
They already beat us twice this year, bro.
And
And me and you
Wemby's,
were there. That's funny. Me and you were at one
bro,
of them
you know
together.
how funny that is? That like Wemby's doing all this crazy shit now. And we were at his first, like, oh, he's here. He
He's
arrived.
here again, bro. He
Bro,
was struggling before he got to us.
bro, it was like 38, 10, and 5 or some
I
ridiculous shit.
swear,
He was killing us, bro.
bro. I
After
swear
scoring
we were
like
the
9
team
the night
that,
before.
yeah.
That
I
was
swear
so
we're the
good.
team that's getting people right, bro. Like
Yeah.
Jalen Green to most people was having a mid season, and this man played us 2 times. You know, in what like a few days, and he been on fire. Like, like bro, we be getting people
I was
started, bro.
I was pretty tough on Book the other day on the timeline,
Mhm.
but
Yeah,
that's part of the reason why I'm super tough on him is like you take games like the Cleveland game where he really responded to how Darius Garland came out. He took that
yeah,
assignment, he took it super seriously, and it changed the game. It slowed the game down
hmm
defensively for us to get back in it. And then
hmm
you have games where it's like Jalen Green's getting whatever he wants, or uh,
yeah.
the Boston game. It felt like any guard dribble
He just
penetration
getting
was
the
just
paint
really
easily.
bad. You know what I mean? And
Hmm
it doesn't feel like a situation where Book is like, man, he's just so limited as a defender. It feels like a situation where it's like he's going to show up when he wants to defensively,
Yeah,
and it's just to me, it's like we're already at this point in the season. We're already X amount of years into you being like on a highly competitive stage. It's just
yeah,
some shit you don't want to see. You know what I mean? So that's number one emphasis for me tonight. I don't care that it's Philly without Embiid. Like, go take your matchup seriously. Go
yeah, for
guard.
sure.
Hold these
And they
guys
missed a
up.
lot of guys too today, so I don't want to see that whole just. We tend to be thinking like we at the top of the West where we could just chill and
Yep.
take dudes not take them seriously. Like they don't have Tobias either. I just seen that tonight. So
Yep. we're minus 9.5. Not to get
Mhm.
into the gambling aspect. We don't promote gambling
Yeah,
on
right.
the but we're minus 9.5. So like books got us winning. So that should be pretty handy. Like that's another
Yeah,
thing with this team is like I feel like we've never walked into a blowout and then
yeah,
came out of it like there we go. We got us a
right.
nice comfortable win, starter sat. So that'd
Yeah.
be a good see tonight is just like a comfortable win, get out of
Hmm.
there early, 30 minutes for the starters and gone.
Yeah, exactly. Like for the main thing, obviously, because I'm pretty sure Maxi's playing. Like one of them, take that channel, let them cook. If y'all got to switch off a few times, let Grayson get a turn, Bradley,
Yep.
Book, Pauls, let them all, let them all get a turn on him, guard him, man. So, because he's one of the toughest people to guard. He's one of the fastest players in the league. He even became one of my favorite dudes to watch too. So,
Maxi's
yeah,
nice, man.
I just want to see us. Yeah, I just want to see us lock in specifically on him because he's the one that could really hurt us tonight.
You think
Campaign gonna try to Ubre
that's
the
right.
ex
That's
Suns. They're gonna
right.
try to get there. So we gotta match the energy because them two already bring like Cam and Ubre already bring energy, and Tyrese Maxey's always like full speed at. So you can't.
Are
They
we
definitely lay down.
are we on the road in this one? Or are we
I
back
think we're
home?
home today. I think we're home
Yeah.
today. That's why I was like, we should win. Like we're at home, they on the road. Then too, I think that somebody said they didn't play like a lot of games in like 4 days, something like that. So their legs might be a little cooked. They missing some people. Like we done had some days off. We don't let that ass whooping fucking
Put you
you
back in
know
perspective,
just
man.
sitting it up. We was sitting there, so they got to be pissed off about that. Come out like if they come out, they should not even just this game. Like I said, the next four, just come out with that energy. Try to send a
Yep.
message, get some dubs, so we can try to stay out there playing. Like there's
Yep.
no way we could still get this, get this 6 seed if need be. But
I
it's gonna
want
be
to
tough.
actually
Still tough.
what's the standings look like right now? We're eighth, right?
Yeah, we're right behind Dallas. Dallas has got one win over us, or a win over us. They're 40-29, I
Yep.
believe.
We're
I think
right.
we're
We're
39.
a half game behind. So Dallas got one more win, and Sacks got one less loss. So like this
Yeah,
shit is still it's there to be had, man. They just
yeah.
gotta
We just
lock
gotta
in.
take care of business.
It's not out of the question by any means. You get to
Hmm.
that six, you're probably staring at a Minnesota or a
Hmm.
Clippers. I mean, that's a
Hmm.
matchup you got to be happy with if you're Phoenix. And
For sure.
I mean, not to get too much into that. I know it's appropriate to respect every playoff team, but I'm just saying, like matchup wise, those are two teams that I
Yeah,
feel like a
yeah,
little bit of confidence.
yeah, for sure. And then too, like, I don't even really care. I know people keep bringing up like obviously it matters. Like we're playing tough teams and we ain't been, you know, locked in a lot of these games. But again, like I said, we went on the road and beat the defending champs without Book. That's why I'm be like, I don't, it don't really matter to me. Then yesterday, the Mavs ended up winning, but I was watching that game. They almost lost. And Luka
That
had a
Spurs
terrible
game,
game. Yeah, that Spurs game, they almost lost. I was watching that game the whole time. That game came down to like the last 2 minutes.
yeah,
And Luka
yeah,
shot the worst he's ever shot. Like, so anything can happen in these games. That's why I don't really like pitching. Like, just win your games. Because a lot of these games that these other teams that we're battling with, like Mavs, Kings, teams like that, there's gonna be games that you look at on their schedule, and they're like, oh, they're gonna win that, and they'll lose them.
drop it. Yep.
Yeah, so like that's what happens in the NBA.
It feel like it wasn't even like what 10, 15 days ago that we were talking about the Mavs missing the playoffs because they came out the break
Yeah,
like 5 or
yeah,
whatever. So
exactly.
this shit is just there's unless you're Denver or Boston, it feels like there's been no
Yeah,
consistency with anybody this year. OKC too, but like
yeah,
all these teams like they're closer than what people want to lead us to believe. Like we just gotta,
yeah.
be the team that they paid all these guys this money to put together this team for. Like
Mm-hmm.
we've seen it in spurts. Now you got 14
Mm-hmm.
regular season games left. You got to put that back
Right.
together however it comes.
Yeah, and I'm like as much as I talk about like to me, I tweeted the last time. The big situation for me scares me.
Yeah.
But even then, like a lot of effort stuff too. Like it's gonna start with the big three. Like it is what it is. Like it starts with those three. Like they gotta set the tone. A lot of the times they do, especially KD, and which is why I'm looking for Brad and Book to keep doing the same thing consistently. Because KD's 35, bro. And he's
Yeah.
been doing it all year, like taking that challenge, games where he his offense will drop off a little bit because he's
Yep.
changing the game defensively, and we got to throw him at the 5 at age 35. And Book and
Let
Beal are
me,
both younger.
let me ask you this: you think Eubanks rides this regular season out because they're trying to limit KD's exposure at the 5 as much as they can because they know that's going to be the backup 5
I do.
lineup, so to speak, in the playoffs?
I
Because in
do.
my
I think they
mind, like,
know.
I don't
Hmm.
like. I get it. There's politics that come into this and stuff, and
Hmm.
I mean, we know what Drew is at this point, but
Yeah.
I feel like there's got to be some sense of urgency on that coaching staff and within that group. That's like,
Hmm.
we can't roll Drew Eubanks out against Minnesota, bro. We can't
Yeah,
roll him
definitely
out
not.
against Denver. Like, and even you get 5-10 good minutes out of him in that Denver road win from a couple weeks
Hmm.
ago. That's not a
It's not enough.
sustainable sample
Yeah.
size. Like, that was just like icing on the cake. Like, he happened to perform, but
Yeah,
over the course of a 7-game series, you got to think like they're going to figure that out and play his ass off the floor.
for sure. Like I think if he does play, his numbers is going like his minutes are going to go down like a lot, and it's going to be a lot of KD at the 5. I think it's going to be times they're actually going to have to throw that out there too, because
Yeah.
not only is Eubanks numbers going to have to his minutes and shit going to have to go down, but Nurk like has proved to me all year like he's prone to be in foul trouble.
Yeah.
As soon as he get in foul trouble, like we have to play somebody.
Yeah.
And like hopefully they don't have
Can't
to
be KD
split
the
that
whole
up
game.
with Drew, Dad, something. Because yeah, he's like you said, his teams clearly like try to target him because like you said, he's bigger. Man's like 300 pounds, but like he's a big man. Like they're gonna try to target him, and he's slow of foot, and that means you're gonna pick up fouls a lot of the time. And even some of his fouls, to me though, I think he could cut down on is some of them moving screens he'll get.
Yeah.
Like just because you already gonna get fouls on defense, we can't have you get off his fouls too because
Yeah. It'll be
he got
some
to
dumb
know from the back of his head that, bro, like, I'm the only, at least playable big.
Yeah.
I know you don't want to think that about your teammates, but you got to know the situation, bro. Like, like,
Right.
it's tough when you're not
You
out
just
there,
got to
bro.
know how much you matter. Like,
Yeah.
for me, it's the Suns' consistent theme has been they've looked their best when it's Nurk has lineups that he's performing really well in, and then
Hmm.
KD at the backup 5 or with that small ball
Hmm.
scramble unit. Those have
Yeah.
been far and away the best 2 lineups with whatever combination of the guards, whether it's been Beal or Grayson or
Any of
Royce
those.
has been in for a few of those lineups and looked phenomenal. Like,
Yeah.
you got to know one of those 2 guys running your big is always going to look your best. And
Right.
anytime it's Drew or whoever else has been at the 5, I mean, it's really been Drew.
Yeah.
But the drop off is so drastic, like availability for Nurk is going to be key. So, yeah, we can't have
Yeah.
him picking
It's
up no
tough.
cheap offensive foul or some ticky tack
Right.
coming across like somebody's chest or something. Can't have it.
That's another thing that bothers me a little bit because I was like we're all watching these games. We know sometimes like Nurk, they have to me prepare for when Nurk's in foul trouble and when Drew to me is not, like I said, he can't be out there some certain teams either. Like sometimes I feel like throw that out there so he knows what time it is from when it is. Because
Yeah.
unless you just completely relying on like KD, you just gonna have to play the 5, which I already feel bad for him now, anyways. Like I already feel bad for him anyway. Sometimes having to do that because he's been great in those lines, and obviously to me, those them lineups has been clearly like the most deadly to me just because the
Yeah.
versatility on both ends. Like we could just switch everything. That's when we looked our best to me. And like you said, certain times, like the second best lineups would be like the matches where Nurk can play and he's doing his thing. But to me, by far, like you said, the best wins were, like the one that Kings one when we went small.
Yeah.
Even what was it the last game we played the Bucks when we was making that little run.
Yeah. 23 to
Because
6.
yeah,
Like,
it's because we
yeah.
went small. Like we was
Yeah.
able to switch everything. It was trying on defense for the most part. Like so,
Yeah.
it's just like that can do that in some of the like it's still a small ball. He's still a small, but
Yeah.
he's like bigger, stronger guy. He rebounds. He showed me when they did play him that little bit, that small,
Yeah.
small sample size, and he had like 4 offensive rebounds in the little
Yeah.
bit about as good as he played. Like he
I
can't
think
be.
I think the optimism with that and the question I have with why they haven't played him is,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously these guys are seeing what they've got in practice and in scrimmage runs or
Yeah.
whatever. I can't speak to what they're seeing that we don't know, but I feel
Right.
like when they got him and when I dove into like, okay, who are we bringing in? Who is Thad Young today in 2024?
Right.
It feels like he's at least within an offense, like a lot of what Nurk already brings you. Like he can
Yeah.
operate as a hub. He can find your guards cutting and slashing. He can
Right.
dribble handoff and make a decision out of it, put the ball on the
Hmm.
floor. Yeah, you give up a lot of size, which I feel like maybe they're concerned. But
Right.
I mean, what size are you making up with Drew? He's
He's
a
small
vertical
too.
threat on
Yeah.
the lob occasionally, but we're still talking about a 6'9", 240-pound center. You
Yeah.
know, so
Exactly.
I mean, maybe it's something to do with like, hey, we're gonna save these
Save his
variety
legs, maybe.
layouts, or yeah, a little
Yeah,
lack of
it could
visibility,
be.
maybe. I don't know, but
I hope
I feel
so,
like
bro.
that's the only thing I'm like, well, there is optimism to be had there because if you can be in and out of your same structure with Nurk
Yeah.
that you can run with that,
Yeah.
that's a positive because defensively now you got a unit of 5 that's athletic that can scramble, get
Yeah.
around, up the passing lanes and stuff like that. We just look slower sometimes with Nurk out there, so.
Yeah.
I feel like as a whole, that's something to look forward to, but I don't even know if we'll see it. I don't know
Yeah. I
what
mean,
the idea
like,
around that is right now.
right. And I don't even want to say like we don't know. So I don't know if he's cooked or not, but I think from the clips and stuff I've seen, the film I've seen him, he still can move a little bit, especially on defense. He's still a lot more mobile and switchable on defense than
Yeah,
either of the other two bigs we have. And that's to me, that besides the fact that some of our guards sometimes be chilling, they just letting guards walk by them. For the most part, they do a good job trying to stay in front.
yeah,
But the main issue to me, like I said, been on defense is like teams know when it's time to it's time to start trying to score on us. We know what they're going to go to. They're going to try to make our guards get out there and switch, guard their, especially bigs that can shoot on the other team.
yep,
They're going to target them and make them, guard in space. Like the good teams clearly have been doing that to us.
yeah,
Draymond basically said it on a pod. Like they when we played the Lakers a few times this year, like they were making it clear. Like when it was time, closing time, Brown would just bring in, putting Nurk in that pick roll every single time. So, it's gonna be more of that, matchup hunting stuff too when we get to the playoffs. So it's just like I will say I'm glad he's on the roster because a lot of people's like, why did we bring him in anyways? I was like, because like that's that break glass option when the time they see it's happening, like he's there. Maybe they're like I'm thinking maybe they're trying to save that because he is older, save him for that playoff run, and he's gonna, it's not like he doesn't know what the playoffs are like. Like he's been there, he's a vet, so he gonna know
right.
what it is. Like, so I'm hoping that's what it is because I feel like he's gonna be needed. That's my main thing I want to come here and talk about is
Yeah,
just like that big
yeah.
situation. So I'm glad we
I think
talked
too,
about
like you got some variety in how you can handle these late game screen and rolls with
it.
another
Mm-hmm.
big like that out there because, like, I mean, it's blatantly obvious at this point. We've seen enough to know that we have a bad screen navigating team. Like, as much as I
Terrible.
commend Grayson and the work he's done on the perimeter this year, as much as
Yeah,
I actually have been pretty impressed with Brad on the ball this year.
me
I think he's
too.
done a good
I
job
wasn't touching
recovering to
that.
the
Yeah.
ball and staying
Mm-hmm.
in front.
Yeah.
Coach has been hit or miss. I know he's
Yeah.
capable, but he hasn't always
Mm-hmm.
been just mentally there, it feels like.
Yeah.
But we die on screens all the time.
Well, we
And
be getting burnt those screens.
it's like, man, it creates an instant advantage. And what ends up happening is yeah, you can run a couple up and downs where you've got Nurk coming up to the level or blitzing past the screen, but we're talking about a 300-pound dude who's used to playing 25, 27 minutes a night. He's gassed. By the time third or
Mm-hmm.
fourth quarter comes around, all of a sudden we're not on the glass like that anymore. All of a sudden he's
Yeah.
got to sit for longer stretches. Like it's not
Right.
that viable of an option. And now we're creating an advantage on every screen or roll because Nurk has to sit in a drop. And we
Yeah.
don't have
Exactly.
guys that recover that quickly. I mean, you can get a Kogi back out there when he's healthy, but we know
Yeah.
what that does to the offense. So it's
Yeah.
too much. I feel like the Suns give up because of
Mm-hmm.
the way they have to guard some of these things. So I feel like let's just see what Thad can do in some of these situations, to see how he operates, to see how he switches, and let's just figure out exactly what it is we have for the matchups that we're going to see in the playoffs.
Yeah. I think we are like people always bring up like those Nets teams. Those Nets teams when KD and stuff, and then we're there. It's not like they had like just great defenders or anything like that either, but they were doing a lot of switching, and it worked. And I feel
Super.
like we haven't tried to do that enough. And I feel like when we get to the playoffs, maybe like I said, we'll bring out a whole bunch of different stuff that we haven't seen consistently in the playoffs. That's what most teams do. They want to, show their hand. I
Yep.
feel like we're gonna be doing a lot of switching, and maybe that's like I said, maybe that's in the back, Vogel in them head. That's why they brought that in because they know these playoffs comes like you said, we don't get over screens. Like
At
just
all.
switch. If we switch, I feel like all those advantages go away. Like yeah, maybe even if let's say we're switching and the other team gets a matchup they want, like an ISO, that's cool. I'm okay with teams trying to ISO us
Yeah.
instead of them driving and kicking and getting threes and killing us. I'd rather we have somebody in front of the ball and they trying to ISO make a play. I'd rather them if they beat us like that, it is what it is. That's just what
Yeah.
I feel like defense.
Just with the way the Suns want to play offense too, like you have to find a way to limit 3-point attempts for the other team because
exactly.
like, are we going to give up 50% every game? I hope not. But
that's right.
I mean, with the way the defense looks past couple games, who knows? But
right.
like, it's not even so much about what they shoot. It's like, bro, they're getting up 40 attempts. They're getting up 50 attempts, and almost all of them.
Out.
You got to like to me. I mean, this is a whole philosophy, different approach than what we've seen the past couple games. Maybe you're right. They're keeping stuff closer to the chest. But to me, you're equipped to scramble inside the 3-point line and guard the rim. That actually really hasn't been that big of a problem for Phoenix. The problem has been recovering to shooters and keeping guards from doing whatever they want. I mean, Brunson killed us because he went 9 of 9 from the 3-point line earlier this year.
Yes, that's would have been the worst thing
by
far.
Garland, what was it, 6 threes in the first quarter?
Bruh,
like they get to their spots and get the jump shot rolling to where we have to sell out completely to guard that guy. I feel like that rhythm shouldn't even take place and just sell out and guard that three. We're going to hit tougher shots over the course of a game, more so than the other team in like 99% of our scenarios. And
for
any
sure.
match that you take, you got the best tough shot makers in the league. Unless you're playing Denver, Boston, LA on their best day, like you know what it is. Just if you can win the math against them, the 3-point attempt war, you should be all right. But Phoenix loves playing the hard way sometimes. So it is.
I'm glad we agree there because, like I said, that's why I think to me. Now I ain't saying they gotta just show it and do it all. Let's do it a little more these last 14 games, whatever it is.
14 games.
And then let's do it a lot in the playoffs. I think switching that's going like we have to because if we don't switch, I feel like we're just gonna get killed from the 3-point line. And us switching to like that, like that's gonna take away a lot more than threes if they think just play 1v1. And I feel like we would trick teams into hunting them like them ISOs against us. I think we'll trick to let them, fall for that trap. Like go ahead and ISO, try to get by us, try to score. Just have whoever, everybody switch and play up, and don't just let them walk in the threes. Like have them, make guys go by you, and like you said, take away the three. Like they're making twos, that's cool because if you're doing that, I feel like we gonna out shot make you. If we make you take twos and our guys book KD, build them and they're taking twos, we're gonna, make them play our game. Like switch everything, play up. That's what I've been wanting to do all season. I feel like I realize it's not. We can't do it when Nurk and what's calls out there, but at times when I feel like it's in the stretches where like okay, we got to get stops. That's when I feel like we should go to that small ball, switch everything, especially come playoff time. That's what we're gonna have to do. Because if we don't, and we have Nurk out there too much for especially certain matchups, like we know what's gonna happen to the defense. Like we're gonna get fried. It is what it is. We don't get over screens well. Just switch everything, and I feel like too that'll save a little bit of Book being on them legs too. Instead of them trying to run and get through all these screens that they clearly not that good at getting over, just pass your guy off. Move him off, bro. That's it.
And I think you see it too. Like I tweeted this during the Milwaukee game during that run in the third quarter, but like they're very much a turn it on team. Like in a way that is like it's frustrating because they put themselves in situations to have to do it, but like it's night and day. Like that team we saw for that 8-minute stretch in Milwaukee, I think we went on like it was like a 28-2 run in that Denver game. Like they start scrambling around everybody. It's quick decisions. They match up instantly in transition and semi-transition. There's a body on somebody, regardless of who's on who. You'll see like Royce taking away the big man because of the first matchup. And he's real good at that because he's good on the front. He trusts his guards behind him. And then all of a sudden it's miss shot, run, turnover, run, and we're getting easy looks. to me, there's no way that they're not aware that that's the best version of them, or at least the
Yeah,
most
they have to
version.
know. I think they know.
So I feel like, getting back to that on a more consistent level. And then when the game slows down and you got to eat glass and you got to create tough shots in the half court, you're equipped to do that. But don't let teams run up 23s on you in the first half because you're walking up to open shooters. I mean, it's just
Right.
like Legler said it the other day on JJ's show. It was like,
Yeah.
it was a performance that makes you like, these guys don't even look like they want to play basketball.
Bro, they look bad. That's what I tweeted the same thing. I was like, bro, it's like they don't even care out there. Like, I get it was an early game Sunday in Milwaukee, but bro, get up. Like we don't got time to be chilling, bro. We fight for our
At
lives.
all. I rushed out of church to make it to watch that game. Y'all better show up, man. Come on.
I swear. But man, the last thing I'm gonna ask you, like, let's see. So we got Sixers. You think we getting this dub tonight?
Man, I think we get the dub. I think it's like handy too. I want to say, 12, 15 points. I think one thing this team has been pretty good about is turning that corner pretty quickly. Like it'll look its darkest and then they'll bounce back with a pretty solid run. It's been twice this year, I think, or 3 times we went on like a 6-7 game win streak after everybody was like, oh fuck, the sky is falling.
Yeah.
We're right on schedule for that. It's been 500 balls since the All-Star break with some bad losses. I think, 12, 15-point win tonight. Starters look solid. Bench unit looks solid. Guys get in a rhythm, and then we take that to Atlanta.
Yeah, I think so too. Plus, I think we have one thing that I was more worried about early in the year. I feel like we were terrible at home. I think we've been really bad at home lately. So
definitely,
I feel like we'll go get this dub tonight too.
Yes, sir.
We'll leave it there. So game starts in 30 minutes. Y'all just started a nice little pregame. I'll probably see y'all. I'll probably record again, possibly either pre-Atlanta game or post-Atlanta game. And, we'll be back then. But appreciate y'all for watching the episode. Appreciate my boy E.
Group leader. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. All right, bro.
All right, my boy.